Hello and welcome to Team 2 Consultants Proposal for HRI. Thanks for attending our proposal today. Team 2 consists of Brandy Barber, Eli Bremer, Brian Holt, Jim Morgan, and Genevieve Whitaker. I'd like to start with an overview of our project. We're going to have an introduction, an executive summary. We're going to discuss our research goals and objectives, talk about our project team. We're going to discuss ethical considerations and standards for our work, our research methodology, our sampling strategy, the rationale for our qualitative and quantitative approach, the questionnaire structure we're proposing to use, the analytical framework we have used, our timeline, our budget, deliverables, our report format and next steps, and then finally you'll see a link to our narrative of this presentation. As an introduction, we'd like to state that Human Rights International is seeking a qualified firm to provide secure, sound, and independent market research in the Middle East, North Africa, MENA region. Our high-quality research will provide HRI with a clear understanding of the context in which it seeks to grow in the MENA region. HRI will be better prepared to make informed decisions on how it can best achieve growth of people, action, diversity, and funds following our research. Team 2 Consultants is pleased to provide the following proposal to support the long-term growth objectives of HRI in the MENA region. Upon completion of reviewing this proposal, you will have an accurate market research and recommendation to achieve rapid growth along with any potential risks associated with the plan. The following provides a few additional details on why Team 2 Consultants is the right choice to fulfill the requirements that were stated in the RFP. Team 2 Consultants boasts over 20 years combined experience working in the MENA region. We're a globally recognized firm specializing in designing complex quantitative and qualitative research studies. The total budget of this study, including all proposed work and deliverables, is $70,000, which is the budget that was given in the RFP. Team 2 Consultants has a dedicated team that is in place and ready to support the details outlined in the proposal immediately upon contract award because we understand that timing is a consideration for this proposal. All work will be completed in accordance with the HRI timeline outlined in the RFP. Team 2 Consultants are available to travel to your location to discuss and answer any questions in this proposal. I'd like now to turn to the research goals. Our overarching research goal is to provide HRI with the market research it needs for understanding the context within which it seeks to grow in the MENA region. Our quality research will enable HRI to make informed decisions on approaches and techniques for maximizing its opportunity for growth while minimizing potential risks in a dangerous region. And our objectives are to identify what HRI's potential audience looks like. We want to target the mix of countries that fairly and accurately represents the complexity and diversity of the entire MENA region. Specifically, we will be looking at Egypt, Jordan, Saudi Arabia, and the United Arab Emirates. Research the full spectrum of rights that HRI addresses, including lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender, and other rights that may be perceived as politically charged in this region. We will deliver HRI with sound research at a reasonable cost. And we will perform our service in a manner that is consistent with HRI's values and principles and our commitment to sound and ethical research. About our team. Team 2 Consultant will be led by a research director. Following that, there will be a budget manager, a technical lead, and below that, you can see that we will have a focus group lead, a survey design lead, a field research lead, and a data analysis lead. We understand that HRI has very high ethical considerations for this study. Acknowledging that, we will work in a manner that is culturally appropriate. Our team has devised an administrative structure that will ensure that females interview females and males interview males. This is extremely important in this region where gender issues are a major concern for us. We will avoid methods that may harm, endanger, humiliate, or seriously mislead respondents. We will ensure that participation is voluntary and confidentiality is respected. And we will adhere to the highest principles of sound and ethical practice in the conduct and use of qualitative and quantitative research. Our team is extremely sensitive to the issues that surround the nature of this study, and we are committed to the highest ethical standards as we proceed. I'd like to talk now about our research methodology. We're going to begin by conducting some secondary research. First, we're going to review any existing research that may be available from other sources, such as HRI, the UN, the Internet, and published works. This is important for a variety of reasons. First, it's a difficult region for us to conduct research in, and it's somewhat dangerous. And second, the budgetary constraints that we were given through HRI mean that secondary research is a very efficient way for us to conduct the research. Next, our primary research will be conducted consisting of mixed methods. We're going to have a general survey of youth via the internet to help identify topics of discussion for focus groups and in-depth interviews. We will conduct qualitative component research, which will consist of focus groups and in-depth interviews, where we will identify themes and trends for designing the quantitative component of our research. And finally, then we will conduct quantitative research, which will be conducted using stratified random sample of a targeted population by categories. We'll apply weighting techniques to ensure that none of the demographics, for instance women, are underrepresented. If necessary, we will apply snowball sampling for non-probability, or a form of non-probability sampling, to reach populations that are either inaccessible or hard to find, which is likely to be an area in this difficult to reach region of the world. I'd like now to turn to our sampling strategy. We're going to talk about our theoretical population, the target population, and the sampling frame for which we'll be using. The theoretical population of our research would consist of the Arabic-speaking peoples of the MENA region. However, this will create some problems that we'll discuss a little bit later, so we'll narrow this down a little bit. Pursuant to HRI's brief to marketing agent, our target population will be limited to youth. For our purposes, the youth are defined as ages 16 to 25 years old. Our segmented approach targets the following 4 countries: Egypt, Jordan, Saudi Arabia, and the United Arab Emirates. This will give us a smaller group to focus on within the MENA region, which will help us narrow the focus of our research and keep the costs under control. Given the cost parameters, these countries will best represent the entire MENA region in our estimation. These countries represent a mix of government forms, for instance traditional monarchy, constitutional monarchy, and a parliamentary republic. They have wealthy and poor individuals. They're oil-producing and non-oil-producing countries and populations, and they're large and small. Furthermore, there are substantial education gaps, including gender gaps in education. Our sampling frame will be drawn from a mix of listings, including the internet, SMS, social media, print relationships, and census data. We will use a stratified random sampling approach, dividing our target population into subgroups such as male, female, sexual orientation, university enrollment, and protest participation. We will then conduct a simple random sample with each subgroup. To ensure that our survey closely resembles the breakdown of our target population, we will use techniques to ensure that none of the demographics, such as women, are underrepresented. If we are unable to survey enough members of minority populations after weighting, we will use a special form of non-probability sampling called snowball sampling to reach populations that are inaccessible or hard to find. Given the nature of this region, that is a very likely possibility as we conduct our research. We'd like to talk now about quantitative versus qualitative methods and what we will be applying during this project. Our preliminary research will begin with secondary research, which will review information that's already available. And as discussed earlier, this will largely be because of the difficulty of finding information in the region through primary research, and as well as the cost that HRI has decided they would like to spend on this. So we will review the relevant information that is already available, and then we will conduct a broad survey of youth using technology. From there, we will move forward into the qualitative research part of our proposal. The data that we expect to collect here is largely subjective in nature. We will be testing feelings, perception, and cultural issues. We believe this research will deliver insights for designing our questionnaires, which will be used for our quantitative research. We will conduct in-depth interviews, which will elicit perspectives on a broad spectrum of rights from the youth who we are surveying. We will conduct focus groups, which will consist of the majority of our qualitative research and will consist of roughly 6 to 8 members per homogeneous group. The number of questions in the focus group will be limited. We will observe group discussions and probe questions as needed. Male facilitators will be used for all male groups. Female facilitators will be used for all female groups, as gender issues are expected to be a major concern in this region. And we believe that perspectives of different homogeneous groups may differ, so that's why we're going to lump them into separate groups for the purpose of this research. Then we'll move into a quantitative research approach. Our quantitative research component will follow the qualitative research that we've already done, and we will use that qualitative research to direct our quantitative research. We're going to divide the target population into subgroups such as male and female, protest participation, and university enrollment. And then we're going to design a questionnaire using data from the qualitative research. Variables will survey a broad spectrum of human rights, and we will utilize a stratified random sampling as we conduct this survey. We will also be applying weighting techniques to ensure that no group is underrepresented. So in summary, our group believes that mixed method research supports our research goals and objectives for this portion of the project. I'd like now to move on to the questionnaire structure. The questionnaire will have 5 parts. The first part will thank respondents and provide assurances of confidentiality. This will be extremely important in the region, as we're going to be asking questions that are difficult and culturally not acceptable to many of the respondents. In part 2, we're going to have easy, non-threatening questions to put respondents at ease. Again, this is a part of the world where many people will not be familiar with research techniques. We need to ensure that those being questioned feel very comfortable with our interviewers to make sure that we get the most accurate information out of them. The third part, or sorry, not the interviewers, the questionnaire. The third part is the body of the questionnaire will primarily consist of a Likert response scale designed to measure views on the importance of a full spectrum of human rights, which were identified during the qualitative phase of this research. Of note, highly sensitive questions, for instance questions about sexual orientation, will appear at the end of the questionnaire. And the reason for that is that we want to make sure we get the most information out of people. If people are not feeling comfortable answering our questionnaires and they don't fill them out entirely, then we'll get more information out of them before they get to that section. The fourth part of our questionnaire will be a short answer response. Or short answer question. Respondents will be asked to list in the order of their importance the 4 human rights they value the most. And the last part of our questionnaire will be the demographic categories, the male, female, religion, and etc. That we will need to collect. I'd like now to move on to the analytical framework of our survey. As you can see here with this slide, we'll have a number of questions that go to show how the survey will be conducted. You can see that we've got a target population, a grouping of 16 to 18 years old, 19 to 21 years old, and 22 to 25 years old. We will then evaluate their technology access. As HRI has indicated, it's very important to determine what level of technology access people have for future research. So we'll ask them if they have no internet access, public access only, private high-speed access, or private low-speed access. We're going to evaluate their education in terms of less than high school or graduate equivalent, some post-secondary education, or a 4-year or greater, and this will be equivalent based on the norms within the country. As we evaluate their income, we'll look for a low income, a middle income, and a high income category, again based on the country and the norms for the country. We're going to look at religious affiliations, whether they have strong religious beliefs, weak religious beliefs, or no religious beliefs. For sexual orientation, we'll be determining whether they're heterosexual, homosexual, bisexual, or transgender. For political affiliation, we want to test to see if they have strong party alliance, a weak party alliance, or if they have no party alliance. And in terms of human rights violations, whether they view this as a growing problem, we're going to ask if they do, they do not, or if they do not have opinion on that information. I'd like to move on now to the timeline of our work. Team 2 Consultants is ready to deliver the proposed research and deliverables by the end of the first week in December. Our schedule is based on receiving authorization to proceed no later than the 7th of November. The work required will take 30 days and will meet the 7 December delivery of research results to HRI. This allows HRI a full week to review the results in order to deliver the results to the Grant Review Committee by early December as requested. Below in this slide you can see the timeline that we have put together in a graphic form. The following outlines the overall process that Team 2 Consultants will execute in order to be successful in meeting all deadlines. You can see the beginning, we're going to develop a proposal. Then we're going to move forward into conducting a focus group. While we're doing that, we're going to research the population and objectives and design a survey. Following that, we'll conduct field work. We will then analyze the data and we will report our findings back to HRI. Detailed daily scheduling showing appropriate work at all levels in order to successfully deliver all work by the end of the first week of December is shown below. Team 2 Consultants take pride in its ability to provide a wide range of schedules in order to show that all items are well thought out and will be managed at the appropriate levels. The timeline on this slide shows exactly from a day-to-day perspective how we'll be conducting our work. From the 7th through the 15th of November, we will conduct focus groups. From the 13th through the 18th of November, we will work on developing our questionnaire. The field survey will be conducted from the 18th to the 26th of November. Data review will be conducted from the 27th of November through the 3rd of December. And our report will be prepared from the 4th of December and returned back to HRI on the 7th of December. We've prepared the following budget for this program. We have a full-time bilingual staff of $40,000, a part-time staff of $14,000. We anticipate that to be a male. We're going to employ 2 university interns, one male and one female, from PhD programs for $4,000. For our field work, we have $10,000 allocated to focus groups that will be split into male and female. We have 100 phone interviews at $10 each, which will take us to $1,000. We have 100 web interviews at $7 each, which will total $700. We will conduct 6 in-depth interviews at $50 apiece, which will total $300. And we will also be conducting we'll have some full and part-time staff included in the contracts above, with the total budget totaling $70,000, which was the amount suggested in the RFP. Our top line report, qualitative research and focus groups, will be provided to HRI in the form of a summary of themes that emerged with a sampling of verbatim quotes. That will be the deliverable for the first section of our research after the secondary research is concluded. For the quantitative research or the questionnaire responses, we will show the cluster analysis representing homogeneous segments of the population, and that will be provided to HRI. We'll also show the raw data of responses to the questionnaires, and that will be provided. The names of the respondents will of course be kept confidential. For our deliverables, the final questionnaire will be given in Microsoft Word. The final detailed schedule will be issued in Microsoft Project. We will provide a verified data report. We will conduct weekly updated briefings. Our final recommendation will be given in a Word document, and the next step briefing will be given to HRI at a location of their choice. The next steps of this proposal would be a contract award. We believe that we are ready to start on this contract immediately if our proposal is acceptable to HRI. We then propose a kickoff meeting where we can get this project going and make sure we have our final instructions. We will then proceed with our research plan in accordance with the proposal that we've put together, and we will deliver a final plan in accordance with the request for proposal. There will be a link to this narrative posted in the final proposal on the website for our class. And in summary, we've talked to the following slides: an executive summary, research and goals and objectives, about our project team, the ethical standards and considerations for our work, our research methodology, our sampling strategy, the rationale for our qualitative and quantitative approach that we will use for this project, the questionnaire structure that we will use, the analytical framework that has been employed, our timeline, the budget, deliverables, report format and next steps, and of course a link to our narrative that you've just watched. I'd like to thank you for your time on behalf of team number 2.